David? Claire?
Hi, how are you? Before we start, this is the comprehensive plan survey, Noel Musson's doing, and so they'd like to hear from as many people as possible. You can do it online if you don't want the hard
I
copy.
did it online.
Oh, okay.
I can do it again. How many votes can I put in?
I don't know, you can be, I don't know, somebody else. Okay, we're recording, and so anytime you guys want to start.
All right, so I guess we
Oh,
could,
also, sorry, before we start, this is Evan.
Hi,
And Evan is my new deputy, and so he's gonna be doing these meetings, but I'm gonna do them with him before we
Transition and then
transition, before we hand off everything.
exciting.
I'm
Okay,
excited.
now you can start.
Yeah, so it looks like we have enough people here, so call to order 5:02 PM. Yeah. And then I guess approval of minutes from last meeting. And roll call, we do have enough for quorum, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve minutes.
All in favor? Approved minutes last time. Looks like it passed. We don't have a warden.
Doesn't look like it, no.
Have you heard from anybody or?
No, I haven't.
We do have a warden now.
No,
Just the way you
right,
said it, didn't sound good.
Yeah,
The only warden we have for town and Mount Desert is Adam.
Thurston, right?
yeah,
Assistant harbor master. I spoke to David Kearns, the other day about that, so.
Say anything, or he's been,
He said that they're still in the midst of trying to, fully staff themselves at the PD for Bar Harbor, Mount Desert. And they should be there really soon, and once they do, then hopefully he can, get some officers interested in taking the training and so forth and so on, and we talked about actually, if there's any of us or anybody that we know. That aren't officers that are interested in doing it, taking the training and stuff, and. I said, yeah, sure, when is it? And then I guess the training was this.
Today.
Yeah, this week. So,
it's only once a year, I
Yeah.
believe.
The end of March.
so it will be a further discussion for us. If anyone's interested,
You
then we
thought of
can
that
go.
once, didn't you? Looking at somebody else.
So, but that's where we left it. We would connect again about it, but as of right now, like I said, Adam Thurston's the only Shellfish award for the town of Mount Desert, and then I forget what he said the name was for the gentleman of Bar Harbor. You might
Chris
know.
Ward?
Oh,
No, not him.
Johansson. Chris Johansson.
Yes.
Oh, Johansson.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know resources are thin for enforcement, but. You would think that it would be a nice excuse to get out of the normal routine. And might be a benefit to have some type of shore. Work or training eventually, so that's something I guess we'll continue to revisit and hope we make progress on. And I guess we'll just move right along here and. We have state update written down here. I had one of take your pick flu for the Fisherman's Forum, so I wasn't able to attend. For the whole weekend, but I didn't know if DMR had anything on that update from the Fisherman's Forum to mention, Hannah?
To be honest with you, I'm probably not prepared to give specifics. I mean, it was, there was discussions on updates on research, with Dr. Beal and the Down East Institute. There was some presentations on, green crabs, some of it to do with, studying effects, and some of it was to look at more of applying it to food items in restaurants and stuff like that, I guess, which essentially might lead to markets. And there was the poster session at the end of the day that showcased a lot of current research. It was pretty well attended, always a storm like there is every year. Um, I see fewer and fewer clam diggers, but there were several people from Shellfish programs that attended, from up and down the coast. I can't think of anything, overly, that
Well-
stands out beyond that right now.
Chris Peterson I was able to attend the Shellfish Day last year with a friend of mine who's a harvester, and Chris was standing. And they start early, like in the morning, like 8 or something, and Chris was standing right at the door, like with a checklist, like pretty much checked our name off as we scurried in the door, but. I had a pretty legitimate excuse to not make it, and I was pretty bummed to not make it, but. Yeah, so. Did you have anything on the landings report for 24? Were we gonna go over any of that quickly, or?
I can just tell you guys, unfortunately, you guys are confidential every year, so, your town's listed in the report, but there's no, essentially there's nothing associated with it. It's value is holding pretty strong in general across statewide. There's ups and downs depending upon where you are in the state, and landing numbers are definitely still looking low in Hancock County and statewide. If there's anything particular you guys wanted to go over, we could. But yeah, unfortunately, your guys' numbers are just confidential. You don't have the dealers and harvesters to hit the mark.
Yeah, and we haven't really participated in any seeding projects or anything here, or anything too fancy like that at all. So I don't know if we just want to move on. All right, we'll move on to old business. And I see none presented. We're gonna move into new business would be what we worked on.
Mhm.
Okay, any comments? David, any discussion?
On new,
Old business, anything before we move on?
no, not at all.
All right, so we'll just move on to that new business that, Claire and, Evan and I, quickly went through the allocation plan for 25. We didn't really have any major changes. We did, make sure our information was as up to date and accurate. We just made very few small changes on things. I don't know if you had any comment or anything.
No, so I did include in your packet the proposed shellfish license allocation plan for 2025. So I guess we just need to make a motion and a vote on that. And so that I can submit that.
It's gonna good with having a 9 licenses.
I don't really, do we feel a huge need to change at this time?
If you don't, ask me, I know it's a large amount for
Yeah,
pretty much zero resource.
yeah, any thoughts on that, Brian?
For changing the allocation. I don't see any. I don't see anything that's,
You didn't sell that many licenses. I mean, you did sell 3 to non-residents after the 90-day period, I believe, last year.
And that would have been 24, that wouldn't have been.
Yeah, that
this
would have
past
been,
summer,
but on last year's report.
Yeah,
So,
So as
and
a,
I think you've gotten 2 so far this year, the 2 of you.
right,
oh, so you did pick it up.
I did.
Okay, great.
Whoops.
well, I would make a motion to maintain status quo for the allocation plan for licenses, maintain the same number for 25.
Do you remember off the top of your head how many recreational you saw? There was
Like
somewhat of a presence, it seemed like recreational.
Yeah.
Like about a
Oh, wait.
dozen.
Tell us right here in our report for the calendar year 24. On that page.
No. That's how many hours Adam put.
Where is it?
I got a rec license.
Oh, it's on the last page. It says, resident recreational, we sold 12.
Good. my
Oh,
memory's-
we sold 8.
Sold 8. Sold 8, resident recreational, we sold 3 resident commercial, 1 non-resident.
Yeah, one of the recreational was me. Not that it matters.
Food for thought, though. At least our subtotal for our funds keeps going up every year, but something to think about, using that for something. That was another thing I spoke to David Kearney about, was with the warden stuff,
Yeah,
about if there's a lack of budget or timing for anybody interested. Don't know how that crossover would work, but anyway, yeah, I think you're right, we should just keep the licenses status quo and for the numbers. I don't see any reason why we need to change anything right now.
So I have a motion, is there a second? Okay,
all right, so motion, so the motion is to maintain status quo, the same number for 25. It's been seconded, all those in favor? It's unanimous. But it is something to consider. If our numbers continue to stay low, might be something we might want to look at in the future.
Yeah.
Think about.
It's the future. Now, you found that to be going on in quite a few towns, as you told us at the Frenchman's Bay meeting, Hannah, that you're having a lot of towns with a lot of leftover licenses, correct?
There have been a few towns, down in the mid-coast that have limited license sales. That have had some leftover resident licenses.
Found quite a few, though, really. Just for one-
It's different. Some towns might have 1 or 2 left over and other towns, are having larger numbers because of, a resource decline. They're having a harder time selling their limited licenses.
We're not the only town has to eventually consider, because of our climate change, a reduction in our licenses. Cause I see it that a lot of the clams harvested in the state now are from harvesters that are putting in twice the amount of time than they have in the last few years to maintain the amount that they're harvesting. That's the way I see it. So they're just trying, it's not that these towns are keeping up with the same amount of harvest every year. They're working way harder to try to maintain it. It's just more and more harvesters and tighter areas because of lack of resource. And in the next few years, you're gonna see a real big drop in the clam land. Because it's finally gonna catch up with everybody.
To jump around a little bit, Brian, did you see what was the total in the treasure, in the account?
18,000.
Wow. So
18,400.
we should definitely-
$5.
we should come up, and like DMR had mentioned in the past, it's kind of a unique situation to have those funds. I think we should brainstorm independently or together on try to come up with a productive way, not to spend money, just to spend money, to either support something existing or to do something, whether it be to support control, resource management or enhancement. I just think we should show that we
Oh, yeah.
have a good way to utilize those funds. I think we're fortunate to have them. I don't have that answer at all. I don't, off the top of I don't have anything, but I think it would be a good discussion to have and to try to put something in practice, even if it was coordinating with the harbor committee on something or some, I don't know how funds work that way, but it seems like we have kind of common interests with the other stakeholders with the fishery type thing and the shellfish harvest, so.
Whether it's seeding or something like that.
Yeah, that would be a really good goal. That'd be a hands-on thing that even if it wasn't like the ultimate pinnacle of success, it might be just good to have a hands-on thing that people could see and maybe participate in that aren't on the committee or something. I mean, even that might have some value and some awareness of,
Right,
um,
maybe potentially do something for seating, maybe in a location that's easy access, you know, say right down here in
Yeah.
Northeast or something like that, just to see how successful it is.
not to open a can of worms, but did you see anything about some type of temporary closure that occurred in the harbor recently in the past two?
Right here,
Yeah,
you know anything about that, Hal?
an overflow or something with something failed with some water
It's the-
treatment recently.
Here?
Yeah. Did you
That
hear
would-
anything?
That would be a
I could be
question
wrong.
for David, probably.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with that. If it's happened, I've missed it, I guess. I haven't.
I don't think it was a massive thing, but it might have been a short term, like something.
You hear that on the hotline or just?
Someone that does another harvester that we know that keeps really
Oh, Victor.
active. He mentioned it and it affected a portion of the,
Of this cove.
I don't think it was
Right.
a long,
It
you know,
could just a broken sewer pipe or
something.
it would
that-
have to be something like that. That's a good question for Dave. I'm gonna call him. That's what it is.
Yeah, it might be worth just for,
Yeah, that stuff happens. Usually it's just short. A cue that something will fix itself or somebody has to fix it, but. They have to, that's one of the testing sites, so obviously a number popped up and I wondered why.
if we ever did go as far as to get into any type of seed program, would this upper harbor be any type of?
Yeah, I
candidate?
agree 100% because you need a place that's enforceable.
Yeah.
It can't be out of the way because just Coke is gonna wait for the time and the moment.
Yeah,
So-
right, exactly. It'd be like eggs in a basket
Yeah,
if
you just-
if it had any success.
Drawing the fox into the henhouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
I
Yeah,
wonder, I mean, do a couple of different sites and do this and potentially Gilpatrick Cove, even though that's still still not open, but I think last time we talked about it, numbers were trending really well about potentially opening that up, so
so Gilpatrick is closed.
Main reason is,
I thought it was.
I wanted open because the
I've
people my
heard of this,
age,
but nobody's
you
ever
can walk
confirmed.
down to the
Yeah, I
plant.
thought that was why we were
It
discussing
gives the elders a
previous
chance
meetings
to
about
plant.
all the
Absolutely.
drainage pipes and stuff they make
Oh, I've
down
got-
the beach.
I've got the wrong over, sorry, yeah.
They're having a job to get around.
Yeah, I was thinking of one down here.
Yeah, I'm just thinking easy access for seating, easy access monitoring as
Oh,
well
yeah,
as
for sure.
patrol.
That's what you need to do.
Would go,
Yeah.
if
Gilpatrick's
they
would be one
can
of them.
get to the shore.
My father said he stomped around Gilpatrick's, must have been this fall. He said he didn't really see much a lot, like in the mud. It didn't, not that you
So you
do.
gotta
Yeah.
take them to know they haven't grown.
Yeah,
Turn the other way.
the mud, yeah.
Well, I watched 2 generations up at Gary Moore's, but I
Yeah.
dug them. Cause then the other people come in, of course, in the last
It's
couple
what
of
you,
years, the damn crabs in the seaweed kills
Yeah.
them. If you don't dig, it.
it's what
you
you
lose the,
don't see going on that's happening. And I have no doubt of it because I was just harvesting yesterday high up on the shoreline and was finding ribbon worms that look like spaghetti. Not in the mud way down. This is halfway up the
Uh-huh.
shoreline.
So is that kind of a new observation that they're kind of up higher than they were in the past, maybe?
Yeah,
type thing.
because since, and I've, even the worm diggers have corroborated this with me, that what's been going on since the worms have eaten all the clams in the mud. What's
Yeah.
left? The worms. They've
Yeah.
gone after the blood and the sandworms.
Hmm.
So they're also slaughtering the marine worm harvesters living as well.
Do you anecdotally recall those ribbon worms being around, decades ago? Is that a?
They're like Anna mentioned, that they're cyclical.
Yeah.
They tend to come into an
well,
area.
I dug, I never got a one.
They're flat like a ribbon
Yeah.
and they be this long and they go
Like,
right.
I've seen them lengthen the stable.
Yeah.
It was something that I didn't see.
You know, when you dig a clam that's died in the mud and it falls out of the shell and stinks,
if it's standing dead.
Yeah, that's a worm goes and gone right through it
It
and just
goes
eating the good parts and
up
kept right
underneath.
on going.
And that very well could be what happened to Gilpatrick's Cove.
Hmm.
Because I was in there 2 or 3 years ago and there was a good supply of clams in the area of the mud. And if they got in there, they would have slaughtered that cove. It would take a couple flips to confirm it.
Bugger.
Food for thought.
And it's too
I
bad.
wonder what they taste like.
Too.
They're technically poisonous. If you feed them to the seagulls, they will throw it up.
They don't eat it.
They'll eat them greedily, food, but then all of a sudden you'll say. Yeah, the saliva is literally poisonous, the mucus on their skin.
Is there, do we have anything on the, DMR annual report at all for 24 that needs to be mentioned? Hannah? Is there anything at all?
I think you guys submitted the report, didn't you, Claire? Oh, no, you guys were gonna submit the report tomorrow, so it's due April 1st, so you guys are all set. And, the only other thing is will be the license allocation, and then you guys will be all good for the year as far as the department's concerned.
Yeah, so your last item here really is the review of the annual report, and if you guys are okay with it, I'll submit it tomorrow, or Evan will submit it tomorrow.
Have you had a chance to?
Oh, I'll submit it
Okay.
tomorrow.
No big changes in that. Do you recall any significant changes? Not really at all, only like
We took
a
a
date or
a
a
warden,
address or something.
warden off.
Yeah, there was very minimal changes, so
Regards to what?
the annual report, like what we
Oh,
did a couple,
Yeah, I noticed. a
2
couple
years ago,
things. No,
seems to be all right.
that's fine.
All right.
It's just,
Well, David says it looks like there's nothing too scary on there, so do we want to approve that? Is that what that we're working on? So I'd make a motion to approve the 2024 annual
Second.
report. Is a second? It's like all in favor? Very good. Do we have any other business at all?
not present, but I think you should definitely put on the agenda for our next meeting what you were talking about, so.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Just a quick question about the money so the town can't touch that is specifically oriented to the Shellfish Committee, that 18,000.
It's in the budget allocated to the Shellfish Committee. And so I don't, I'm not a treasurer and I think it's kind of operates under the police
Yeah,
budget, so I don't know the ins and outs of what you have to do to spend it and what you can spend it on, but.
and
we can
again,
certainly find out.
not to try to spend money but also I think there might have been murmurs of like, since it's been latent for a while, there's other departments that had interest possibly in accessing it.
That's why I was bringing this up.
So that's why I think maybe if we were to coordinate with another, overlapping agency of some kind, or find, a very productive use for it for our shellfish thing.
Oh, yeah, that's an absolute
So I,
thing we should prioritize for the next meeting.
Yeah, so that's a
Money has
priority,
definitely
yeah.
been accruing, that's for sure.
yeah, so that's a priority, is to find something very constructive and tangible that we can do with some of those funds to show that we are serious about and appreciate having them.
Sad thing is, seating unless everything is perfect and goes perfect, fails.
Yeah, my heart's not set totally on 100%
It's
doing a
just-
seating
I've
project,
done-
it could be anything.
I know Hannah may have a different opinion, but I've done this umpteen times over the last 30 years.
Oh, the boxes, yeah, that's another thing, that the clam boxes. See, we've lost Chris is retired, so he's the Dr. Peterson was a lot of the motivator for that, so he brought me over a whole stack of screen boxes that I was supposed to carry on with. And we can see how far I've gotten with them, so. Well, we got a little disheartened when we went to get the ones at Otter Creek, and we had all that huge wind and storms, and
Yeah,
there was like lobster traps hanging from the trees, and you're like, we're not gonna find these little boxes.
Forget that.
Yeah, I was looking like up in the apple trees beyond the surf line, thinking they were so light, maybe they got thrown up there, but no, we did find the ones inside the cove, but we didn't find the ones outside, because we want to see the comparison
Mhm.
inside and out, but yes, we do need to engage and do a little bit more.
I think that along with just, trying to identify what we're gonna do for more wardens for the town.
Yeah,
Even though it's not a huge, even though it's not a problem right now and it's not a huge resource for it,
things change.
the last thing we need is, not have any wardens, so.
Well, that for sure is really the top priority. Without enforcement, if you, God forbid, the resource bounces back, which I don't expect ever. But if it did in a few areas and we can't patrol it and keep an eye on it, it's as good as dead.
No, I think it's a asset for the enforcement departments too, to have to sometimes engage with, I mean, we do live on an island and we have a lot of shore, and I've seen. Sometimes they don't have the right equipment and are not used to it, so any type of like, engagement with having, going on a boat or doing some type of patrol like that. In an emergency situation, I think would be quite a benefit to them, even if it was not shellfish related at all. So that's just kind of one of the side thoughts I had on that.
Hannah, a question for you, do you know of any other towns in the state that have any shellfish wardens that are just regular civilians, regular just residents of the town?
Yeah, Deer Isle, Stonington, Brooklyn, there's lots of towns, excuse me, that have, just, somebody, a person that basically can just that passes the regular background check for marine violations, with
Right.
no law enforcement experience.
Okay. Are any of those, are they all strictly just, civilian residents, or any of them? Have another connection in the town when it comes to employment, whether they're like a part-time code enforcement agent or harbor master or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, all of the above. That happens. It's different for every single town, and there are some towns that do it with the code enforcement, the animal control, the harbor master position. The Frenchman Bay, they do a contract with somebody who has law enforcement background and training, but he's not technically a town employee, he's a contract. And then there are other towns that contract with the county sheriff's office. So it runs the whole, gamut from full-blown law enforcement to somebody that can pass the regular, marine violation background right off the street. Like Raylene Pert, she doesn't have any law enforcement background at all, and she covers 3 towns in Hancock County.
And what is she paid by those 3 towns?
Yeah, they pay her. She's an employee of each one of those towns. I know in the past, the position was tied to the harbor master, and that didn't work out, and they cut it off. They tried it and it didn't work out in Stonington, and they've separated the position since. So it's strictly just the shellfish warden position, and there's no law enforcement required for that.
Okay.
Plus, you have harvesters, shellfish harvesters that have gone for warden positions, right?
It's very, very, very uncommon currently. In the past, you'd see it a little bit more, David, but right now it's almost like not occurring anymore. It's very rare. Occasionally, you'll see a town that has somebody certified that also holds a commercial license.
Yeah, because I know we've discussed it over there, because it's good just to have a backup if your warden, God forbid, gets sick or something. You've got some type of backup. I thought about it, but Jesus.
And I guess just obvious, rhetorical question, but say like David being a commercial harvester, if he wanted to become shellfish warden for the town of Mount Desert, there's no conflict or interest or any issues with DMR on that
No.
part, is there?
No, that would totally be a town item. We don't get involved at that level.
Okay.
Thankfully.
Yeah, so I mean, that was, food for thought for
Oh, yeah.
any of the guys
I thought of
here.
it before.
I talked about it with Kearns, and, he talked about, they have their own budgeting and stuff like that, and would work with, say, if like I wanna do it, or you wanna do it, or whoever wants to do it, then we would communicate, and then I think, you know, preliminarily conversation we were talking about, you know, you get compensated for your time and
Well,
you get a radio and a call sign and all that stuff to be able to communicate in case if there were any issues and
no good.
notify the PD that you're heading out, doing a patrol, et cetera, et cetera. So it's, yeah, something to think about. I mean, I know it's something I would definitely be interested in doing if I
Yeah.
knew exactly when the course is gonna be and have much more time to do it.
Does you have any idea what the cost of the course is, Hannah?
I know that there's part of the law, I'm not sure the actual term for the course, but it's tied to law enforcement type training. And it used to be, the fee used to be waived, but I believe now there's at least a $350 fee or around that area to take at least part of the training to do with the, you talk about the DMR warden certification course, I'm right.
Yeah, cause there was a little expense for the 18,000, so
Right.
that's there.
Yeah, any type of training like that would be an asset.
Yep, yeah, it's a deterrent. The more deterrent out there, the better.
Well, we can talk about it next meeting.
Yeah, do we have anything else?
Not
Are
unless
we
you
gonna
want
have you
to.
next meeting? When
I
are we
will
gonna?
be here.
Good.
I will be here. And then when I think Evan doesn't need me anymore, then
You'll set them free.
Well, thank you very much, Hannah,
would
for,
you set a date for another meeting? Or?
yeah.
Good idea.
I just wanna thank Hannah for attending and listening to our
Thank you.
stories.
Oh, no problem. Sorry I couldn't be there. I'm getting over the flu and I don't want to spread any germs around.
And the rest of the state.
Yeah,
They say we should do something before the summer and then we'll have one after the summer. What do you guys think about that?
yeah. What do you think, David?
Oh, man.
What's, what do things look like for, as far as logistics for the town?
Well,
For you
I
guys?
would say.
Here comes
I
the
would
town
like to
meeting.
Do one in April and
Right.
wait until after town meeting, if
What-
I had my
What's,
say.
or you can do the day of or the day before town meeting.
Oh, okay, let's do it, yeah, let's do that, I'll have the election and we'll just have the table right here,
Perfect.
we'll have the meeting, yeah.
Yeah, May would be good
End of
because
May?
June, yeah, May would be good because it starts to get busier in June, so I would be in the May timeframe.
Okay.
If there's something.
Oh, works for me.
Okay, so usually we meet on Thursdays. So. I guess. I'm just looking to see if there's any meetings scheduled.
You're not gonna
Looks
be
like
on a beach somewhere.
May
in the Caribbean,
8th is
right?
okay.
Not this time.
Mud flat.
Mud flats, that's what we have for beaches here.
That's what we do. Maynard's Beach.
Well, pretty much any time in May, you wanna do later, like at the 29th or?
I think that sounds
Early the
good.
Yeah.
better.
Earlier, I'd be, yeah,
Things are
early.
gonna start cranking coming
Yeah.
in May.
Okay, so
We
you
still
want.
And that
to-
would give us a chance, if we had to cancel, we could push it, maybe, if we
Okay.
had to.
So we could, we're gonna be very tired, but we could do it May 8th. Cause the town meeting's May 5th and 6th,
Hmm.
but we could do 8th or,
What's the following week?
well, the following week is the 15th. And,
what?
actually,
8th,
the
Yeah.
15th,
Down.
I have an appointment, but if you're just taking notes from brainstorming session, I don't see why.
yeah, I don't see we have any big issues unless something crazy
Yeah.
pops up, unless a bunch of, like. Rapscallion clam diggers come down
Okay.
from the north and descend upon our green.
So
cloud
yeah, it
flats.
sounds like it's just pretty much a brainstorming session, so.
You guys seem nice, so.
Yeah, we're pretty easy to get along with, unless we actually have an issue to fight over.
So 15th?
Okay, let's
May
do
15th,
5:15.
Well, we're gonna do the 15th,
5:15 p.m.
yes, not the 8th.
May 15th, 5 P.M.
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right, I make a motion to adjourn.
My second.
All those in favor?
Thank you, Hannah.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
5:36 p.m.
Well, thank you for wanting to take over the reins from her. I know that
Yeah,
I know she's got her hands full, so she's got
Oh,
a lot of stuff.
so I'm happy to get in and start doing it.
So you
Well,
back
we
up,
do it
back up to
elsewhere.
a four-person staff now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
What's that?
back to a 4-person on that. That's
you back to a four-person staff
Oh,
now?
no.
Oh, really?
Is this everybody on?
I just took over from Jennifer.
No.
Jennifer, yeah.
There's two deputies and one
It's
clerk.
easier that way. It's less-
So,
That and
it's easier to
750
vote.
anyway.
No, like our
Yeah, no,
over
we used to
committee's
have four.
expanded and there's
Yeah.
like a bunch of different interests now.
You'll need four.
You know what? And they wanna, are we still recording?
oh,
Hmm?
let's see, please pause.
Was anybody online today?
I didn't see any.
I didn't see
say
anybody.
anybody.
And she,